And welcome back with more with Steve Saleen. Your dream was to get to Indy cars. Unfortunately, I think you bought the worst possible cars imaginable to try and accomplish that with. I'm sorry. There was a reason they were available, Steve. It's because nobody else wanted them.
Yeah, my choice of car ended up not being the best choice that I could make. We were running 88 March. Then everyone, either the second or third race into the 88 season when they were new, got rid of the cars.
Yeah, they could afford to get rid of the cars. Yeah.
And on top of that, the Chevy motor was the right one to run with its electronic fuel injection. Because of my association with Ford Motor Company, I was running the old style Cosworth with mechanical fuel injection. So not only with the chassis, but one arm tied behind my back from a horsepower standpoint and the drivability with it. We were competitive at Long Beach. The super speedways we were not. But I was 5 miles an hour faster in that car than it had ever gone before with less aerodynamic and less horsepower. You know, put it into turn one at Indy. That was an expensive week.
But it was a shame because I think it didn't give you the fair break you needed to people see how fast you are.
Well, and I would have continued on with it, but Ford wanted me to concentrate on the trucks and the Mustangs.
That's right.
At the point in time. So I had more pressure to continue to win championships in those vehicles. From the race truck standpoint, I have the most truck wins out of any driver that ever competed in that series and won the championship with it.
After I end up leaving the team, you go on to Le Mans, you get into these really trick-looking Saleen race cars.
We got into the 90s, and I formed a relationship with the comedian Tim Allen. Mm-hmm. Tim, if you're looking on this, I take credit for teaching you stand-up comedy.
Biggest nightmare was I'm, of course, waving at somebody, and I pile into Steve, who piles into Bob, and all three cars in turn one go off. So we're set up to really do well in this race, and I take out all three cars, and you hear one of the crew go, "Oh, Tim ran into both Steve and Bob." But I can't stop. Steve's out of his car, and he's threw his helmet down. He went over to Tim's car. I think no, he's not talking. He's trying to get Tim out. He's pulling Tim out of the car. Now Bob's helping. No, Bob's got his foot on Tim's chest and pulling his helmet off. Tim doesn't want his helmet off, apparently. They've got his helmet off, and they're beating him repeatedly around the head and buttocks.
Tim actually was quite a good racer.
I
he
think
just
you were
didn't have the
pleased with
time
him.
to spend with it because of his TV show and the movie schedule. But when he was on the track, he was able to do a very good job.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
And then we took the cars over to Le Mans. 1965, there was one Shelby Mustang that competed. That's the only time that Mustang has ever competed at the 24-hour of Le Mans. Driving Le Mans, though, I will say, was really exciting
with
as well.
a car with your name on it.
Yes, that was a lot of fun. And just like the movie Steve McQueen in Le Mans, I remember the opening lap of the 24-hour race is we were going down the Mulsanne Straight. It was just like the movie. You're watching the vibration of the hood bouncing a little bit.
Bodywork,
You're
yeah.
in bouncing off all the other cars. And I sit there and I go, wow, this is really cool, just like the movie. But then you got to pay attention. You got to brake and through the chicane and then back on it again. In the draft, we were hitting almost 200 mile an hour in the car. So it was a very exciting race. From an emotional standpoint, it really is quite an ordeal.
That one left an imprint on you. I remember that. Steve, I got to tell you, you surprised the world. I'm so proud of you. You introduced the S7. You take them go racing. They do very well, but you didn't drive the S7 that much.
Yeah, it's and
that surprised me.
I was the lead engineer and the lead test driver, but at that point in time, the business had grown substantially,
right?
And we were really busy, and so I wasn't really focusing so much on driving personally.
I'm very excited about this S1 Cup.
Our newest S1 is a very exciting car.
It's
a little different approach, but times have changed.
Yep.
But it's every bit of a supercar. You know, technically, the only reason it's not called a supercar
I'm anxious to hear.
is from the government requirement. In defining a supercar on this deal, it's a car that is considered mid-engine, capable of over 180 miles an hour, hauling two people, but costs over $200,000.
Oh.
We didn't click
that-
the
that-
box because we only retailed for $100,000. So that's the reason why it's not really considered a supercar. The cars are going to be very exciting. The series itself is going to be unbelievable.
I agree.
The graphics and liveries that we've done on the cars are very unique too. The cars will be very quick. They're all paddle shifters and a very light car.
Yep.
The aerodynamic development that we have done is second to none. So you have a lot of good aero and a lot of downforce. So going through sweeping corners, it will be a very balanced car, relatively easy to drive in that.
Steve, when you tested the S1 for the first time, did it put a smile on your face? Did you think to yourself, this is really something?
Yeah, the one thing about my job is that most of the time it is dealing on business matters or engineering and design and aspect of it. But every once in a while you get in the car and you realize, whoa, that's why we're actually doing this. This is how much fun it is to actually drive the cars and to have fun with them.
Steve, I want to say with all of our hearts, Jay and I so appreciate the opportunities you afforded us back in the 80s. We can only pray that somehow we get to do that again in some way. Thank you so much. There's so much more to Steve Saleen than the celebrity portion that people know. As a race driver and as a person and as your accomplishments, thank you, my friend. We're very, very proud of you.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad you guys are here.
We appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much. There you have it, folks.